Layla had been married to Omar for 5 years. They met in college, fell in love slowly, and built a life together in a quiet neighborhood just outside of San Diego. Their small home had white walls, a cozy kitchen that always smelled of cinnamon and rosemary, and a tiny garden Layla loved to care for. Tulips and lavender filled the little yard with color every spring, and a lemon tree in the corner gave the best fruit during the summer months. From the beginning, they dreamed of having children. Layla imagined a little girl with curly hair and Omar's smile, running barefoot through the backyard and picking lemons off the tree. They chose names before they even started trying. They'd talk about baby clothes, strollers, nursery wallpaper, and bedtime stories. Sometimes Omar would joke, "I hope she has your stubbornness and not mine." And Layla would laugh and say, "She's doomed either way." But life had different plans. The first time Layla got pregnant, they were both overjoyed. They told their families, celebrated with cake and tiny gifts, and even painted the extra bedroom a soft, buttery yellow. Every night, Layla would lie on her side and imagine the baby growing inside her. She'd hum lullabies and talk to her unborn child about all the things she wanted to show her. At 12 weeks, Layla lost the baby. She cried in Omar's arms for days. She couldn't understand how something so full of hope could disappear so suddenly. Omar held her close and whispered, "We'll try again. We'll keep trying." They did. The second pregnancy ended even sooner, like a door being slammed shut before it could fully open. And the third pregnancy ended in the hospital, with Layla waking up to silence and an aching emptiness that filled every inch of her being. After that, they went to doctors, specialists, fertility experts. They ran every test imaginable. They tried medications, treatments, schedules, diets. They prayed. They lit candles in churches and whispered hopes into the wind. Omar even fasted for a week, believing somehow it might help. But one day, after months of tests and quiet prayers, the doctor sat across from Layla with kind, tired eyes and said the words she had feared the most. "I'm so sorry. It's very unlikely you'll ever be able to carry a child to term again." Layla sat still, staring at her hands. Her nails were bitten down to the skin. Omar reached for her, but she couldn't look at him, couldn't face the pity in his eyes, even if it came with love. She knew he wanted to say it was okay, that they would adopt, that love was more than blood, and maybe he meant it. Maybe he really believed it. But something shifted inside her. Something broke. At first, they tried to hold on to each other. They still ate dinner together, still watched their favorite shows, their legs brushing lightly on the couch. But there were long silences between them now. Nights when Omar stayed at work later than usual. Mornings when Layla lay in bed long after the alarm, pretending to be asleep just to avoid conversation. They didn't argue. That was the strange part. No shouting matches or harsh words. There was just a growing distance, like two people standing on opposite sides of a river with no bridge between them. The love hadn't vanished, but it no longer reached across the space between them. A year after the doctor's words, Layla sat at the kitchen table, stared at her wedding ring, and said softly, "I think we should separate." Omar looked startled, hurt. "Are you sure?" She nodded. Her voice shook, but her eyes were dry. "I need time to understand who I am now. I don't know how to be like this. He wanted to try again, asked her to go to counseling, said he still loved her, said they still had a life together, and Layla believed him, but her heart felt empty, like a house with all the lights turned off, and she knew she couldn't give him what he needed. Not now. They divorced quietly. No lawyers fighting, no shouting, just sadness and goodbye. Layla moved into a small apartment in the city. The walls were gray and bare. The windows looked out onto a noisy street. She brought only what she needed: a bed, a chair, some clothes, her favorite books. She left the garden, the yellow room, the memories. The days passed slowly. She didn't work much. She didn't talk to friends. She avoided family events. Her world shrank to the size of a living room. Her world became small. Just her, the silence, and the memories. Some days she cried. Some days she felt nothing at all. She would sit by the window and watch people walk by. Mothers pushing strollers, children laughing, couples holding hands. This went on for nearly 2 years, until one sunny afternoon, Layla went for a walk. She didn't know why. Maybe the silence in her apartment was louder than the city outside. Maybe she just wanted to remember how it felt to be outside, to be among the living. She passed a little animal shelter with big pictures of smiling dogs in the window. Something about their eyes made her stop. Inside, it smelled like soap and fur. A young woman behind the desk smiled brightly. "Hi there. Are you looking to adopt?" Layla hesitated. I I don't know. I was just walking." "That's okay. Would you like to see the dogs?" Layla nodded, almost against her will. The woman led her to a small room with soft floors and open kennels. Dogs barked and wagged their tails. Some jumped up with excitement, others lay quietly, watching. Then in the corner, Layla saw a small brown dog with floppy ears and big, tired eyes. "That's Max," the woman said. "He's 5. He was abandoned, but he's very sweet, a little shy." Layla sat on the floor. Max came slowly, then put his head on her knee. For the first time in months, Layla smiled. She came back every day that week to see Max. Then on Saturday, she signed the papers. "Welcome home," she whispered to him. Max walked slowly into the apartment and sniffed every corner. He sat beside her on the couch, and Layla felt warmth in her heart again. Over the next months, Max became her shadow. He followed her around the house, slept beside her bed, and waited by the door when she went out. She talked to him like he was her child, and in many ways he was. She cooked again, took him for long walks, joined a local dog park and met other dog owners. She started smiling at strangers. She laughed again, real laughter, not the hollow kind. Slowly, the fog in her mind began to lift. She started writing again. Not big stories, just small things. A blog about her life, her dog, and learning to love again. She called it Paw Prints and Healing. People started to read it. They left kind comments. Some wrote back with stories of their own heartbreak and healing. Others simply said, "Thank you for this." One day, Almost 3 years after the divorce, Layla was walking Max in the park when she heard someone call her name. She turned. It was Omar. He looked older. His beard was a little grayer, but his eyes were the same. "Hi," he said softly. Layla's heart skipped. "Hi," she replied. They sat on a bench and talked about work, about the past, about Max. "I read your blog," Omar said. "It's beautiful." "Thank you," Layla said, and meant it. He looked at her with the same warmth she remembered. "I still think about you." "I think about you too," she said truthfully. There was a long pause. Then she asked, "Are you seeing someone?" He shook his head. "Number I haven't been ready." "Me neither." They walked together for a while. Max trotted happily beside them. When they reached her street, Omar asked, "Can I see you again? Maybe coffee?" Layla thought for a moment. She looked at Max. She looked at Omar. Then she smiled. "Yes, I'd like that." It wasn't the same kind of love they had before. It was softer, wiser, slower. Over time, they rebuilt something new, not trying to replace what was lost, but building from the pieces that remained. They still couldn't have children, but they had Max, and they had each other. Sometimes life doesn't go the way you planned, but even after the hardest storms, the sun can shine again. You just have to step outside and let the light find you.